And I'd like to ask everyone if they could mute their phones or their computer headsets so that we don't have a lot of background noise. And then as we move along, we'll unmute phones for the speakers. And if you have a question for today's meeting, you can include it in the chat is one place that you can put a question, or you can always unmute your phone and ask a question. We're not a big group today, so there'll be lots of opportunity for Q&A when each of the presenters present. But I want to do a quick overview of today's agenda. It was included in the calendar invitation that was sent out to all of you. We'll do some brief introductions here at the beginning of today's meeting. And then I'm going to do just a very, very quick overview of the project. I know that some of you that are joining us today don't serve on the steering committee and haven't been involved in all the meetings that we've been having. So just a quick reminder, this may be your first time joining the network meeting, or you may have come to the last one because we've only had 2 so far. So we'll do that just to remind people about the purposes and the mission and vision of the project, what states are involved, and so what the next steps are for you. Then we've got 6 great presentations from what we're calling the 7-minute asset round robin discussions brought to you by the Asset Mapping Work Group and the Communications and Resources Work Group. So thanks to the team and the steering committee for identifying these programs, and we'll have quick 7-minute quick presentations about them. These are examples of programs that are like what we're trying to promote through this work, and you'll have a chance to ask the folks who are presenting questions about the work that they're doing. Then we'll do a quick review of the work groups that are being formed and invite those of you who aren't involved in the work group to participate. All the links to sign up for the work groups and the work group descriptions are included on the agenda, which again is attached to your calendar invitation. So, first thing we're going to do is let's do a quick introduction of steering committee members. So, if there's what I'd like to do, because I can't tell who all's here because some of you are only on the phone and I only can see the attendee list of those people who are actually online, I'm going to give you the opportunity to steering committee members to speak up and introduce yourselves. So, Snehal, since I can see you, I'll let you go first.
Thanks, Mimi. This is Snehal Bachner from Clark County School District here in Nevada.
And I know Robert Mitchell is there too. Robert, you want to say hi?
Hi, Robert Mitchell, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Doñana Community College, member of the Pilot Monitoring Work Group.
Thanks, Bob. And Selena Conley?
Hi, this is Selena Keneally. I'm here in Albuquerque at New Mexico EPSCoR, and along with Snehal, I'm on the outreach group.
And Susan Thackeray.
Hi, this is Susan Thackeray. I'm from Utah Valley University, and I am on the Effective Practice Scaling Committee.
Great. I know Anne's on the phone. Jakely, Anne, do you want to say hi?
I am, yeah, Anne Jekyll. I'm the Associate Director of New Mexico EPSCoR and the Asset Mapping Work Group.
Tammy, you want to say hello? Tammy Getz?
Yeah, this is Tammy. We're getting evacuated from our building at this very moment because of fire. So I'm following Sue down the stairwell. But I'm Tammy Getz. I'm with the Utah STEM Action Center. I'm the Executive Director. And I do whatever Mimi tells me to do.
Thank you, Tammy. Is there anyone else on the steering committee that's on the phone that I don't know that you're there?
I'm not sure if I'm steering committee, but this is Lisa Regal. I'm helping NAEP with the project management.
Thank you, Lisa. So,
and I'm probably in the same boat. This is Bobby Eichhorst from the New Mexico Public Education Department.
Hi, Bobby. How are you?
Doing well.
So let's go ahead and, since we're not a big group, it looks like there's about 14 of us that are online, and I don't know how many people are on the phone. We'll just go ahead and do some introductions so we know who's here. Anyone else want to go ahead and introduce themselves? Sarah, how about Sarah Penny?
Hi, this is Sarah Penny. I'm Idaho EPSCoR Diversity Outreach.
Thanks, Sarah. Marina McCatton?
Yes, this is Marina McCatton, Nevada Department of Education, CTE.
Hi, how about Jody Johnson?
This is Jody Johnson. I'm with Idaho State University and the Power Careers Project. I'll be presenting today.
And
this is Lawrence Speedy, Idaho State Power Careers Project as well.
Hey, Lawrence. How about Jenny Landin? Or Landon, I'm sorry.
This is Jenny Landon. I'm the Dean for the School of Sciences, Health, Engineering, and Math at Santa Fe Community College in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
And Jacqueline?
Jacqueline Leonard, Professor of Mathematics Education and researcher at the University of Wyoming.
Oh, great. And how about Chelsea?
Hi, this is Chelsea T. with New Mexico EPSCoR. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator, and I'll be presenting in a bit.
Great. Thanks, Chelsea. And Andre?
Good afternoon. This is Andre De Leon. I'm at the Nevada Department of Education, floor below our CT person upstairs. Hello.
Great. Thanks, Andre.
Hi, Andre.
Is there anyone who's just on the phone? I can't tell that you're here because I don't see you on my list that would like to introduce themselves.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Paul Pelletier from the University of Wyoming. I also work on the Lewis-Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation for Colorado and Wyoming.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Hello.
Anyone else? Kathleen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathleen Fitzpatrick. I'm a program manager for NAEP, and actually on the agenda for today, I'm going to be presenting some work that I'm doing in southern Colorado.
Anyone else? All right. So I did want to recognize the fact that Kathleen and I have been sort of soloing, the two of us, in leading this work, and I wanted to welcome Lisa Regal to the team here at NAEP, who's going to be providing the facilitation for the work in the IMSTEM project. I know she introduced herself earlier in the call, but I wanted to recognize her. And Lisa, I don't know if you're someplace where we can see you or not, or you can again say hello to everybody so they can recognize your voice.
Yes, hello. I'm excited to be here, and I couldn't get into the meeting, so I just called in.
Okay.
So I'm on my phone. But I looked at the slides, so I've seen those, so I know what's going on.
Where we're going. Okay, great. Good. Thanks. Okay. Well, I wanted to just do a quick review to remind us about this work and why we're doing this and sort of what our vision and mission is. But the NSF Includes program is a program of the National Science Foundation that's focused on bringing networks or alliances of organizations together with the potential to impact the data around broadening participation in STEM. So our work here in the IMSTEM launch pilot is really focused on trying to create a cross-state alliance of formal education system partners that are committed to systems change. Specifically, we're looking at using the collective impact model to create a culture of success for every student in STEM that would ultimately lead to a more diverse STEM workforce, which is what we need for both our global competitiveness and also creating opportunities for underrepresented students as well. There are 6 participating states: Colorado, Idaho, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming. You might have picked that up from who happens to be on the call. And we're very excited about the commitment that these 6 states have made to this work. Our common agenda is really focused on identifying efforts that are working towards trying to close achievement and participation gaps for students 7 through 12, so the middle school to high school transition period, as well as students that are in undergraduate STEM education. We're particularly interested in looking at community college and undergraduate transfer from high school to those institutions to see what kinds of programs can impact those critical transition periods in the pipeline or in the pathway, in the STEM pathway for students. The model that we're using in this work is sort of this layered piece, and so the state network component that you see is that blue bar in the center of this particular slide is who we are today, the people that we're reaching out to, and we're working to try to expand this group. Although we are not a big group today, there are about 75 people who are on our network list at the moment. And so one of the things I want to ask all of you to do is to continue to think about who else we might want to bring to the table here. Our outreach and growth work group is working on developing recruitment materials for bringing more partners to the state networks. So you can see that we have a management team which consists basically of Kathleen, myself, and now Lisa Regal, our steering committee members who you were just introduced to. These 6 work groups that we're forming, so we'll talk a little bit about them after we complete the presentations today, but I did want to recognize the fact that today's meeting, the presentations here are a result of conversation had at the steering committee, but are really part of the communication and resource sharing and the asset map building work groups, because the communication and resource sharing group is really about trying to again, broker and share information across the 6 states, which we're doing today with these presentations that you'll be hearing. And the asset map building group is identifying programs across the 6 states that work on our transition points, and the programs we're going to hear about today are part of that. We're going to go ahead and start our 7-minute round robins, again brought to you by the Asset Map Building and Communications and Resource Sharing Work Groups. And the first presenter for today will be Chelsea G. And Chelsea's with New Mexico EPSCoR. And so, Chelsea, I'm going to go ahead and let you start. And if you want to just tell me when you want me to push the slides, or if you can do it yourself, I don't know if why don't you just tell me and I'll move them for you.
Okay, so I am going to share my webcam so you can see me. Hi, everyone. As I said before, my name is Chelsea T. I work for New Mexico EPSCoR, and I also am co-lead for our Natives in STEM project, which we collaborate with ACES, the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. So that's what I'm presenting on today. Ooh, I've been made the presenter.
Yeah, so you can push the slides yourself.
Okay, so it says close all windows and then show my screen.
That's okay. I've got the screen up. If you want to just tell me which slides you want me to push, we can do it.
Yeah, I can. Let's do that instead.
Okay, great.
Okay. So this project, should I say not yet?
I'll put you back to not being a presenter, so it's not so confusing for you.
Okay. I've been dismissed from the training.
Oh no, how did that happen?
Oh no, it said leave training.
That's my fault.
Okay, let me try this.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead and talk about your program. I'll push the slide.
Okay. So before you change the slide, a little bit of background. In 2013, I took part in a NATE micromessaging training for one of the programs that New Mexico EPSCoR runs, and one of the big takeaways that I got from there was how impactful environments are and images are to young people. So next slide, please. So here is...
I just heard that the slides aren't showing, so... I apologize. I don't know why that's happening.
You're the full picture on my screen, Mimi.
You can see it?
Just you.
No, we can see you.
Oh, how fun. How fun is that?
Full screen.
Kathleen, if you can hear me, could you come in here and help me, please?
Yep. Mimi, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Thank you.
So now you should be able to share your slides.
I don't know.
There's still black screen for slides, Kathleen.
I don't know what I've done now. Kathleen, can you come in here, please? I have no idea what happened. Okay, let's see. Show my screen. And sorry, y'all.
They were on, but then they dropped off again.
Can you see them now?
We're seeing the PowerPoint desktop.
So maybe stop showing the application. So it says it's paused. So click the arrow first. Okay. Why is it doing that? It's driving me crazy. What about the PowerPoint slideshow? The next one. It's paused. That's very interesting. I'm so sorry, guys. Can you see this now?
The only thing we see right now, oh, now they're showing. Well, now they're gone.
How about now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We see the PowerPoint screen.
Yeah, the problem is when I push the slideshow on, then it turns into a black screen and I don't know how to get it off. So I'm going to leave it right here, and I apologize to everyone for the lack of my knowledge about this technology, but we'll go with this. Is that all right with everyone? And I'll get
that'll work.
I'm going to get to your slide right here. How's that?
That works. So I can only see the title slide.
So you're not seeing
right,
the building?
We can't see Chelsea's slides.
Mimi, I'm seeing on your PowerPoint up in the right-hand corner where it says share. Can you see that up in the, can you click that? Does that work?
What do you see now?
You see the first of Chelsea's slides now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you can go to the next slide. Perfect.
There it goes.
So as I was saying before, I found through the NATE training and micromessaging training that images were important. And here's a collage of scientists historically. Some faces you may recognize, and some of the faces I've seen throughout my middle school and high school years, and really didn't see myself in any of those images. So after doing some additional research, I found that young people struggle to identify themselves in the STEM culture and as professionals. So their sense of belonging really isn't there because they don't see a representation of themselves. And I wanted to change that. And so I could find a partner. Can you go to the next slide, please? And like I said, I partnered with ACES, the American Indian Science and Engineering Society, on the Natives in STEM project. And our goals were to create some positive images of actual Native STEM professionals, looking at and creating more diverse images, so gender, orientation, tribal affiliation, and career paths. And so here are 3 of the newer images that we've created, and these are printed in poster form. So we have Aaron Nazi, which I think some of you saw in DC. And he's a mechanical engineer. In the middle, we also had Franklin Dollar, who's a physics professor, and he is Dry Creek Pomo from Northern California. And then to the right is Venetia Honani, and she's a software engineer, and she's Hopi. We also have 2 more posters that where we've featured a Lakota professor, a lady, and then a Navajo engineer, another Navajo male engineer. And so we wanted to expose our young people, Native young people, to these STEM images in hopes that they can identify with them and then think about career options. So far, we've sent out 5,000 posters to schools and individuals and organizations, including 137 Bureau of Indian Education schools. Next slide, please. Another part of the project that we wanted to share were stories. So the images are in the schools. At the end, on the very bottom of the poster, we have a website, and I'll share that link with you all in a bit, where students or parents or guardians, anybody actually, can go to this website and learn about more Native STEM professionals. And so here are 9 of, I believe we have 12 or 13 so far, with some ready to go, of other Native people. So from the Pueblo, from the Salish and Kootenai tribes. And when you click on these, either photos or links, and they'll take you to who are these people, what degrees do they have, where did they go to school, and then we ask them questions about where are you from, how is your work connected to the community, what kind of tips could you share with people who are interested in STEM. And so it's written from the first person's perspective and with a young Native person in mind. In the future, we are hoping to include audio stories and video stories. We are also looking to find more Native STEM professionals. So if you know of any, please connect me to them so we can add them onto our website, but also they may be future poster people. Next slide, please. I lost track of how many minutes I have. So just to wrap it up, here is the website. Feel free to share this website, take a look also, and then, like I said, if you have any people that you know that are Native professionals, please send me or nominate them to be part of this project. So any questions?
Chelsea, can we follow you on social media?
Sure. We are on Facebook more, and I'm slowly getting into Twitter and Instagram. But yes, please follow us on Facebook and the other 2 as well.
Hey Chelsea, this is Sanel. On your first slide, I thought you were missing some awards you won. You didn't list your award you won, so I think Nate might take that back from you if you don't list it on all your slides.
Next time I'll put that in. Award winner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Award
And for the people that are on the call that weren't at the conference, maybe you want to share that a little bit?
Sure. So I was nominated for the Nate Rising Star Award by Ann Jekyll and Selena Keeley, who were both on the call. And later on found out that I was selected for the award, and we were really excited. So I got to go to DC to the summit a couple weeks ago, I believe, to receive the award. And we have a photo on our New Mexico EPSCoR Instagram if you want to check it out. But it was really exciting, and thank you for the nomination, but also for selecting me.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to get off the call. If you have any questions, oh no, I didn't even put my email address on there. I can share that with you, or just go on to the Natives in STEM website, and then you can get a hold of me there as well. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea. So I in a situation where I have the opportunity to share a little bit with you about some work that we're doing in Wyoming in partnership with the Wyoming Department of Education. We are implementing our program improvement process for equity training with the 7 community college teams in Wyoming. And that particular training is focused really on trying to increase the participation and completion of underrepresented students in non-traditional career and technical education programs. So this includes women in STEM, any of the technical fields, trades, industry areas, as well as men in nursing, early childhood education, education more broadly, cosmetology, for example, all through the career and technical education programs that are at these 7 community colleges. The teams right now are currently in the middle of their training. They actually will be doing their showcase presentation in the next couple of weeks. But I wanted to just describe quickly to you what they've been through so that you understand a little bit about this process. So the teams organize usually around a program or a few programs that they're interested in trying to really understand the dynamic of the participation gaps that exist in those programs. So when I talk about non-traditional career and technical education programs, these of course are programs where one gender is underrepresented by less than 25% in the workforce. And so the teams tend to include support service staff, for example, counselors, as well as instructors from the programs themselves, maybe deans or department chairs, administrative staff from the community colleges. We do this work with high schools as well, just to be clear about that. But it just so happens that our implementation in Wyoming right now is with the 7 community colleges. So those teams initially get together, they get an orientation around the program, and the first thing we do with them is a data collection process. So we collect participation data in the programs they identified they want to focus on, and either build a data dashboard for them, which we do in Tableau, or help them create from their own data analysis tools, a performance gap analysis where we look at demographic characteristics of students based on gender, race, and ethnicity, and special population status. So in Perkins, the special populations include students who are economically disadvantaged, students with disabilities, English language learners, single parents, displaced homemakers, and those populations are the ones that we look at in addition to gender and race. When it comes to meeting accountability performance for career and technical education programs across the country, the accountability measure is a gender-based measure, so we're looking primarily at gender participation in these non-traditional programs around accountability purposes. The teams then, after they've done their performance gap analysis, the first training that we do with them is to look at that data to identify any additional data sources they want to look at, and for them to learn about the research literature that around root causes. So what are the barriers that these students face to accessing non-traditional programs, and what does the research tell us about that? And the teams then create an action research plan where they actually go out and validate a hypothesis that they create about why these students may not be entering these programs. They then do focus groups with students. They might do a survey. There are a variety of tools and resources that are provided to the teams, and they create this action research plan. And they implement that over the next 3 to 4 months with monthly technical assistance calls. And then the teams get together again for a face-to-face training where they look at the results of their action research work and align those outcomes with specific research strategies to create an implementation plan as part of the study. I don't know who that is. Might mute your phone. And also they create evaluation plans for implementing those. So right now these 7 teams are just finishing up their select process and their program implementation. Some of them may still be in the root cause action research phase, but they'll be presenting the outcomes of their work sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I hope that I'll have an opportunity at the next network meeting to share the outcomes of that, specifically from the work that we've been doing in Wyoming. So, any questions to me about this particular project? All right, then I'm going to pass the baton to Sanal Bhakta from Clark County Schools, and he's going to tell us about Girls in Tech.
Thank you, Mimi. Hopefully everyone can hear me. So like Mimi said, my name is Sanal Bhakta. I work for Clark County School District. For those of you that aren't familiar, we are the 5th largest school district in the country with 322,000 students. And about 3 years ago, we started, and you know, initiative may not be the right word. Maybe it's a project or an experiment, but really to encourage, support, make aware of different opportunities that young women in our school district may not be aware of, that is available to them and that they can pursue. So we started by hosting various events throughout the district where we took middle school girls and really took them up to our high schools to go through some hands-on activities that were actually led by female students in high schools that were in those specific programs. So it sometimes can be a challenge because some of our programs have very few female students, but we really wanted to give that opportunity for empowerment and mentorship. And really one of the goals of our program is awareness. And I know that's one challenge that's been for those of you in education. You know, everyone wants the data, the numbers. And I continually try to tell my higher ups that, hey, you know, we're trying to overcome something that's been around for decades, if not well over 100 years. You know, those gender bias thoughts, views, the gender roles of what a male should do, what a female should do. And it's not something that we're going to overcome and get 50-50 in a year, 2 years, or 3 years. I mean, this is a long game. So I feel fortunate that I have a very supportive team here in Clark County School District that's really kind of supported my vision on really the goal is the awareness to get these young women hands-on with the activities and really give them the opportunity to choose their own destiny, whether it be in STEM or IT or whatever they want to do. So over the past 3 years, we've basically exposed it to about 3,000 middle school girls. Sounds like a huge number, but in Clark County, that's like barely 2% of the girls we have in middle school. So we still have a long way to go, but I feel really proud about the work that we've done. So when we started this initiative, you know, awareness was kind of the goal for the first year. You know, getting more of our young female students aware of opportunities in STEM and technology. And then after our first year, we were like, okay, how do we continue to grow the program? What can we add? How do we take good to great? So if you go to the next slide, Mimi, the next slide that we thought about is that, you know, as we get some of these young women, you can move to the next slide, yeah. As we get some of these young women to consider careers in STEM and IT, how do we continue to support them in high school and college? And that's where a partnership developed with NCWIT, which is the National Center for Women in Information Technology. And what that allows us to do is basically host their Aspirations Award, which we just had our Aspirations Award event this last Saturday, where we recognized 21 young women in high school that are thinking about pursuing careers in STEM and IT. And research has shown that not only do we have to expose young women at an early age, but we have to continue to provide those support mechanisms, whether it's through mentorship, one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but role models, and also recognizing them for the achievement. Because many of these young women are walking into classrooms with 20, 25 male students in there, and it can be tough for them sometimes. So this award really highlights their commitment, their dedication, and really provides that recognition for them. We actually do it in conjunction with a local female professional tech organization where they recognize current females in the tech and STEM fields. So these young women have an opportunity to kind of network and really kind of create that mentoring peer-to-peer model type opportunity. So we've been very, very fortunate with that. So then last year, one thing that we wanted to think about is one thing that we started to consider is we took a look at our demographics in our area, and where are some of these young women coming from? And if you go on to the next slide, one thing we knew, but we really started to make more of a focus on is that we have a huge Hispanic Latin population here in Southern Nevada. So we really put together or worked with NCWIT and basically brought this initiative to Southern Nevada, and it's called Tecnolochicas. And the whole goal behind this program is to, once again, bring more awareness to young Latinas and their families. And the key is the family there, because I think that's something year one I didn't realize how important it was to get everyone involved in supporting our students that are pursuing careers in STEM, but especially young women and young Latinas, because if you look at some of the numbers, females going into these types of STEM and IT careers are low, but then if you dissect it and look at like Hispanics and African Americans, it's even lower. So really trying to make a concerted effort. So we started off with this one, Tecnolochicas, and those of you that were in DC, I had an opportunity to meet with Senator Masto. She is the first senator elected to Congress of Latin descent. And she is a big proponent, big supporter of this. Even though I've always been told to stay away from your elected officials, but I think being in public education, really using them for good and to really help promote. So she's been a big advocate of it. So we're really bringing the community together to really support these young Latinas and their families. And what I mean by their families is not only are we having girls in STEM events where the girls get hands-on with equipment, technology, different things like that, we're also providing programming for families where families understand the importance of their daughter pursuing a career in STEM, how in some cases it can really bring that family out of poverty, and really how and why they should be supporting their daughters. And so we've developed and we're still developing and refining that programming for their parents, that hey, so that they can support their daughters, because many times there's a language barrier and there's a cultural barrier, like they've always known that hey, women are going to do this role, men are going to do that role, so they have no idea how to support their daughter if their daughter wants to go do something else. So it's been a challenge, but it's something that I really look forward to really kind of making an impact here in Southern Nevada. And then the last slide, maybe if you switch that, one of the things that I think I mentioned earlier is that everyone looks for numbers and say, hey, how come you haven't had, 20% gain or 5% gain? And I just had to give some information to some elected officials that are running for office in the fall. And I got that question asked by one of the staffers. And I told them, and I told the staffer that even though, we do track everything we do, so even though we only see a small percentage increase in female enrollment, I think where we see the larger increase, and once again, like I mentioned, this is a long game. Where we see the larger increase is more companies, organizations, more nonprofits like NCWIT, other organizations partnering, more elected officials really getting involved with this campaign. Because I remember when I graduated from engineering many moons ago, there was only 2 females in my graduating class. I spoke to a student last year, and in his graduating class of engineering, there was only 4 females. And I was like, well, we've only doubled it in like 20 years, so that just means we still have a long way to go. So I think that awareness is the key. More people are aware of it, and especially educators as well. I think as educators, both in K-12 and higher ed, we all know about it, but do we really do something about it, right? So I think having these events, I always encourage educators to come be involved with it, both at the higher education and K-12 education, because I think if they see it and they can see these students' face just light up and really get excited about a career or an opportunity in STEM, I think they may be more apt to go back into their classrooms or the universities and really kind of share and promote, so that the next time they get a female student come to them, or a minority or someone like that, maybe they can really give that little extra encouragement, because they're obviously there's a lot more hurdles for them to overcome in order for them to get into that career field. So, and I'll drop my email in the chat. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about it, super excited. So feel free to reach out to me at any time, but I will turn it back over to Mimi.
Great. Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Personnel? All right, watch in the chat box. There's to get his contact information. So let's move next to Utah. I'm going to ask Tammy Getz to go ahead and talk about the Girls Who Code clubs that are being implemented there. Tammy?
Hi, thanks, Mimi. I appreciate it. It's the time to share this kind of newest initiative that complements our K-16 computing partnership project that we launched about 2 years ago. So I'm sure many people on this call, if not all, already have heard or are very familiar with Girls Who Code. It's a national organization founded by Reshma Shahjani, and they launched Girls Who Code with kind of their flagship program, which was their immersive summer program, which is a phenomenal program. Many large corporate partners are a part of this, Goldman Sachs and Adobe. And we were interested in that, but as we looked into it a little bit more, the cost of the program, which I believe is 6 or 7 weeks long, was very high. A number of our companies felt that they could do something like that themselves for girls coding summer clubs or opportunities. And it just really did not reach the scale that we wanted to for impact with our, particularly our younger girls in kind of 5th, 6th, and up to 12th grade in our schools. So kind of held tight, did some homegrown stuff, and then all of a sudden, about a year ago, we got wind of this new program that they launched, which are the clubs. And this is a really intriguing model to us for, one, it's scalable, 2, it's very affordable and thus sustainable, and 3, it's a great way, as you'll see in a minute, to engage industry partners in a very sustainable way too. So the Girls Who Code, kind of their philosophy, I really like. It's a blend of both, incorporating or bringing in opportunities for girls to learn some of those soft skills like teamwork and managing their time well, communicating, and ultimately building self-esteem and confidence, which is very appealing to us because we hear that a lot. We see that a lot with not only with our older women, kind of young women that are entering the workforce, and then also with our young girls, just seeing them how they interact with other, male counterparts or peers in their kind of their little community at school. Technical skills, they're very solid. They're online, they're free, all the content. And so this is just kind of an overview of the club's kind of general philosophy. If you go to the second slide, you get down into the real logistics of it and why it works, why we like this. It's based on a semester program, so it happens in school, not during the summer, which we feel like is a really unmet opportunity. We tend to go with our out-of-school, after-school programs for these types of things. This is really catering towards school, after school, during the school year. And so and it can reset. It's based upon a project. It's project-based oriented, so the girls can actually identify within the club, a local, a regional, or a global problem that they want to solve through some coding application. And it's the really nice thing too is, and you can reset the buttons with the same group of girls for the next semester, new girls. So nobody's really ever left. You can reset and nobody's left behind. It requires a single facilitator at a minimum. I mean, that's all you need. They don't need to have coding experience. Girls Who Code provide online training. They also provide what they say is 24/7. I haven't tested that yet, but they claim they have 24/7 online, and also people available by phone for facilitators to get help. We also are considering having our own summer workshops for facilitators to help get them into a greater comfort zone with coding. And then it looks like I screwed up my slides on this. I apologize. On the sustainable part, time management and communication don't belong there. And so I tried to be really quick getting these to you, Mimi, but apparently I didn't do a quality control check on them.
That's okay.
But so the other things we really like too is that it's a 2-hour, they're designed for 2 hours a session. And so with our industry partners who want to volunteer, and we see more and more companies in Salt Lake area and Utah County and across the state that want to get involved, but they have to be real about their volunteer time. It has to be something that they can sustain over the long term. And 2 hours a week is very manageable. And in fact, a lot of our companies are looking about assigning 2 to 3 of their employees to a team to kind of back each other up in case one can't make it. So there's no lapsing in the weekly meetings. And then they're very flexible. And I also say that, again, I think I said this, but I'll reiterate, the content is free online. There's no cost to this at all if you don't want there to be cost. We've worked with some corporate sponsors that are going to sponsor swag bags for the girls. So they can have their own little backpack with stuff in it and shirts to kind of self-identify with their clubs. We're also looking for a second corporate sponsor, which I think we've found is going to provide a Visa card to every school has a club so they can actually have a snack budget for their meetings. And then I go down to the flexible aspect of it. It is meant, the content that's online for the club is targeting 6th through 12th grade girls. I just heard from Girls Who Code that they are planning on launching new content this fall for 3rd through 5th grade, which is really great news because we've had some huge response from our kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They intended this for to be offered at schools. However, we have found that there are other community and civic groups that want to have clubs on site. So we have, for instance, Junior Achievement is going to have a club. We have one of our museums, the Leonardo, that's going to host at least one, if not more than one club. We actually have almost, I think, 5, maybe 6 now of our county libraries who will host clubs. We have a meeting with one of our refugee centers that will have a club as well. So that makes it's a very flexible venue, I think, wherever you want it. And again, the 2 hours per week has a little bit of flex in it as well. And even just one more aspect, we talked to I know some of you probably have worked with your Boys and Girls Clubs or your 4-H extension out of some of your land-grant universities. And they have some fairly strong guidelines about the fact that if they are offering an opportunity or event or an activity just for girls, they need to be able to show one just for boys. And then we also have our rural communities that have said, hey, we don't have enough girls to justify a club, in Mighton, Utah. But, talking to Girls Who Code to be respectful to their vision, we asked if they'd be okay if our rural communities or other groups could blend And, you know, my take on that was that they could call it Squirrels Who Code, and Girls Who Code would be fine with that type of adaptation. So anyway, just a few comments on outcomes so far. We had this idea, and honestly, Mimi, I can't remember why we decided, you know, like how this really came up, other than it just someone told me about their clubs and we looked into it. And it was funny because we had 5 clubs in the state of Utah 4 months ago that had done this on their own. And so we decided to launch. Resma Shajani just happened to be in Salt Lake February 22nd for another event, and we called and said, hey, would you stay for our event or come early? Kick this off. She did. We put out 3 phone calls to the school district. We pulled it together very quickly, thinking, oh, 100, 150 girls, get some critical mass, we'll hold it at Deli and C. The Lieutenant Governor came. We ended up having to schedule a second event because the response from the middle school girls in this single district, and one 2 hours away, they had a busload too, was almost 350 middle school girls alone. And then the elementary response stunned us. We had principals reaching out saying, I've got 120 schoolgirls in my school, in my elementary, that want to come. And we ended up having another event at Adobe that was almost 350 elementary girls as well. So that in Utah, I think we'll have, probably by fall, we'll be launching close to 70 to 80 clubs across the state as our kickoff. So there you go.
Great. Thank you, Tammy. Anybody have any questions for Tammy? Not at this moment. All right. Thank you, Tammy. Sounds like great stuff. These are great programs. I'm really excited about all of them. So I'm going to turn next now to Jody Johnson at Idaho State University. Jody, turn it over to you.
Okay, and I am here with Lawrence Beatty today. So he's the past executive director of ESTEC. To get started, I really need to tell you a little bit about ESTEC for people to understand our program. Our program is providing opportunities for women in energy-related power careers. Well, the energy-related part is ESTEC, which is Energy Systems Technology and Education Center. You'll go ahead and turn to the next slide. In ESTEC, we have 5 different programs. These programs came about because of a great need. We had to respond to the workforce. They were driving high need because of the high levels of technology that were changing, and people couldn't just enter into the workforce, and yet they are having a high rate of retiring workforce people. So they're leaving the workforce, and we don't have people ready to go in and take over their jobs. So in order to meet that need, ESTEC was created. It's a very intense program. It's very focused education. The students take 75 to 80 credits in a 2-year degree, and it's very immersive. They get at least 15 hours of hands-on skill building in that time frame, or weekly. They get that 15 hours every single week. And the 5 different programs are electrical engineering technology, instrumentation engineering technology, mechanical engineering technology, nuclear operations technology, and we started a new one this past year, cyber physical security. And we work very closely with our national lab, the Idaho National Lab is here very near to us, and they do end up hiring a lot of our students, but they are very helpful in helping us create the curriculum for these degrees. Lawrence, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think the thing that really moved this thing forward in terms of a particular project was that we were having great success getting men into this project, and they were doing terribly well. However, the number of women in the project was abysmally low. We were 5-6% on a typical year. So while all of that was going on and the program was being launched, the economy was also crashing in general terms. So we saw a lot of women coming back, age 25 plus, displaced homemakers, people who had lost their jobs, and they were looking for something different, and they were looking for something that would provide them a living wage, and so gender traditional low skill, low pay jobs weren't going to work for them, and yet there was this real concern, real fear of jumping into something where they knew they were going to be a distinct minority in the workplace, and that's really what the project is designed to address.
So some of the goals that we have for Power Careers, obviously, is to provide these women a pathway to a high-tech, high-wage, high-demand career in a very short period of time. Specifically to our grant, it is to recruit, enroll, and retain the women 25 and older. But of course, all women, all ages, and everyone is accepted into this. The big goal is to supply a well-skilled technician into the world with these in-demand female workers. And when we talk in-demand female, the industry is really looking for the diversity in the workplace. Women add to that. We do things differently. When people come from different backgrounds and different upbringings and everything, they add diversity. So you can solve problems faster and more efficiently when you get a group of people coming at a problem from many different directions. You don't get the group things as easily. So they are in demand for this diversity. We help the students find these careers that offer that great income and the stability for their families. We work very closely with industry, and many times the industry comes to our institution to do the interviewing. They can interview 10, 20, 30 students at a time to be able to pick through and find the best suited for those particular jobs. And it's great for the students because they are here going to school, and it's convenient for them as well. One of the biggest things we do is we want to provide a support platform for the women. Give them the tools that they can use to succeed. And we start that from the moment we meet them until they graduate and are off in careers. And actually, we don't let go of them then. We keep hanging on to them and bring them back to help the women coming in. And that is a part of the networking that we create, the community that we create. We want them to be engaged from beginning to end. Let's see, we can go to the next slide. And that goes into the opportunities that we create for the women. So we provide those mentors. The women that have graduated and gone on into working, they are here to mentor the students coming in. And the students that are in third and fourth semester help the students in first and second semester. And we bring in industry people as well and try to create a great social support system and networking. We do many activities for the students outside of school to give them a chance to know each other, to build friendships, to be able to not think about school sometimes, and to be able to find commonalities in other ways other than the school. We work really hard with the industry to provide the internships that many of our students go on, and that gives them the opportunity to use the skills that they've been learning in the school environment and actually see that they are utilized directly in the industry, and that they can go straight from school to work and be an asset to that company. We provide other professional development opportunities as well. We have taken our students to an international power conference, which is a little mind-blowing at times because it is international and it's huge, but it is an amazing opportunity for the women, for all of the students to be able to immerse themselves in an environment where everybody is talking about what they're learning about, and they get to ask questions and interact with people who have been in this industry for years and be able to get questions answered that we can't necessarily answer in school sometimes. We assist with the job placement. Like I said, we have the industries come right to us. We get notifications. On average, I would say we have over 100 requests for job placements. So we get the job announcements and we put that out there for the students in a single semester. And so we have a great opportunity to provide for the job placement. Again, the opportunity for the students as they come out and graduate, they get to become the mentor and help the students coming in. And it gives them a chance to show that they do know something. They end up not realizing how much they've learned because they are fed with a fire hose, the information in those 4 semesters. And so when they're going through it, they're always thinking, I don't know enough, I don't know enough, I'm not learning at all. But when you give them a chance to tell somebody else what they know, they start realizing, holy cow, I know so much stuff now that I didn't know when I entered. And so it gives them a I guess, confirmation that they are learning as they're going through this, that they're not as lost as they sometimes feel. And so they gain that confidence, and we give them as many opportunities to do that as possible, because we do see the confidence grow when they have those opportunities. We also work really, really hard to identify and help the students apply for scholarships so that we can ease their financial burden as much as possible as well. And the last slide, Mimi. This slide is a quote from one of our students, Bonnie. She said that we need to see what other women succeeding in these non-traditional careers, and it was mentioned before by a couple others, that having those role models and being able to have that image and being able to see somebody in that same position and being able to visualize themselves doing these things is a huge confidence builder, a huge help to these women to be able to recognize that I can do this. I love these pictures because it shows our gal Cameron in the work or in the school setting with her hard hat on, with her safety glasses, learning all the PPE and being able to work on the system that is what she would see when she goes out. And as we like to say, that this is rocket science in a 2-year degree, because Cameron is there in front of a great big rocket booster. She works for Orbital ATK out of Utah, and she works on the fuel that is put into these rocket boosters, and she gets really excited when she gets to blow things up. So she is very excited about her job and loves her job, and it's a thrilling thing to hear her come and talk to the students and show the excitement and the gratitude she has for going through this program and being able to make it through the program in order to get the job that is providing her the opportunity to spend time with her family, the quality time with her family, and do the things she always dreamed of. So.
Well, thank you,
Lawrence, I kind of took it all, but
clearly you're not enthusiastic about this work either, right?
Just a little.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm trying to be cognizant of our time here. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to give our last presenter an opportunity to share with us. So I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the future UU. And Kathleen, I'll let you take over.
Good afternoon, everybody. As you know, I'm Kathleen Fitzpatrick, and I'm a program manager for NAEP. But in my spare time, there we go. In my spare time, I am the executive director for the Southern Colorado Girl STEM Initiative. We've been around for about 10 years, and we do a Girl STEM Day at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. Every fall, we bring 400 middle school girls to campus to have a day of STEM exploration and professional role models. But in addition to that, just the last couple years, we have partnered with the University of Advancing Technology. They are in Tempe, Arizona. They are a technology-focused university. They realize they have a problem in attracting women into some of their technology, so we have started working with them to bring some of our girls from Southern Colorado to have a on-campus experience for 4 days in June at the University of Advancing Technology. They currently have 15% women in their on their campus, and so they're looking at the pipeline, trying to increase that. Mimi, if you go to the next slide. So this is only for 20 girls at this point. It's 7th and 8th grade girls. They have to compete for these positions, and it's highly competitive. They get to go for 4 days, get the dormitory experience. Because of our partnership with UAT, they are providing all of the room and board and instruction. So all we have to do is provide the price of a plane ticket. So we do fundraising to fly the girls down to Arizona, and a quarter of our girls are fully scholarshiped. Maybe you can go to the next slide. The Future UU Technology Camp, we try to focus on communicating to the girls how technology helps, how they help people, how it helps the environment, and it all is focused on technology, computer science. They get exposed to artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things. They do some Lego robotics. They do app development utilizing MIT App Inventor. It's a free software that is easy to use even with elementary students, giving them some exposure as to how to develop an app. They do some game design and get exposed to virtual reality and Oculus Rift, doing some development there. The last one, I've got a picture here of a young woman wearing a white hat. We do part of the camp is a cybersecurity scenario where the girls get to be women wearing white hats. So that's www.www.h.com, women wearing white hats. And they are cybersecurity specialists that are supporting this orphanage in Africa. And the computers...
Kathleen, hold on a second.
Sure.
Lawrence, I don't know if you can hear me, but could you mute your phone? Okay, I think that's better. Go ahead, Kathleen. Sorry,
Thanks.
there's
Yeah.
background noise.
Yeah, so research shows that girls are more inclined to study STEM if they understand how technology or how STEM can help others and the environment. And so we really set up the scenario so that they understood how cybersecurity could be helpful. That's a quick overview of what we're doing with this special camp, and I'll close it there if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Kathleen? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. So to close out today's session, I want to thank all of our presenters. I think that we got a chance to learn about some great programs that are going on in all 6 states, and they're all really different, but clearly they all have the same potential outcome, which is to increase the diversity of the STEM workforce and increase opportunity for underrepresented students in STEM. So I want to again thank Chelsea Chi, Snehal Baka, Tammy Getz, Jody Johnson, and Kathleen Fitzpatrick. Great overviews of some great projects. I want to remind all of you that we have these 6 work groups that we're forming. So outreach and growth, metrics, data collection and reporting, communication, resource sharing, asset map building, effective practice scaling, and our pilot monitoring, all our work groups that the teams are involved in working on. And I want to thank again the communication resource sharing work group and the asset map building work group for bringing us these 6 programs in today's presentation. And of course, the oversight of the full steering committee in this regard. On the agenda that you received for today's event, there is a link to, the network list link is there so you can see who else is in the network. And if you aren't involved in the network, you can go ahead and add your information. It's a Google Doc link. The other is a link to the sign up for the work groups and also a handout for the work group descriptions that you can download also from the Google Drive. And those links are all in the agenda that were on today's invitation for today's meeting. We'll be scheduling another one of these network meetings in August. We haven't selected a date yet, so I'll reach out to the steering committee to get that scheduled. But if any of you, we're looking at the 2nd week in August at this point, so any feedback from any of you about good dates. I know August for many of you is the kickoff time for schools to get started and lots of things going on, but we hope you'll be able to join us for an hour and a half to learn about the next topic that we'll be bringing to you. So keep an eye open for an email with information about that. Any questions, comments, anything from anyone in the group? And I appreciate, again, your flexibility and willingness to work with me on the technology bumps that we had today. I apologize for that, but we'll get all those kinks worked out by the next time we meet. And I want to thank all of you who joined us for the entire time today that are here. And for those who had to leave early, we thank them for being here for the time that they could join us too. Any questions, comments? Anything at this point?
This is Lisa. I was wondering if there's any way that we could get some of these programs, some of the materials they use to recruit the girls, if they have like a flyer or something that we could share so we could start to look for what works.
Certainly, we can reach out to, all the presenters, we know who they are. So, Lisa, we'll go ahead. Great. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We can build a place on the Google Drive where our resources are being collected for this information. So we'll let everybody know when those are available.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll be in touch.